start with the obvious. Ryan Blaney didn't need to win this race. He had performed really well in this round so far, finished 6th at Vegas, 2nd at Homestead. So he came in 10 points above the cut line, but he seized the moment. I mean, he left this as a no doubter and led the second most laps in the race, 145 laps led, and really kind of dominated the second half after he and Denny Hamlin had kind of battled the first stage, couple of stages. So what did you see here from Ryan Blaney, and what impressed you about his performance at Martinsville?
Nate, I think the biggest thing as I was sitting watching the race was this was exactly what we had projected and thought that we were going to see from Ryan Blaney as he entered into the Xfinity series a number of years ago. That with the talent that we saw there, the abilities that he has shown as he got into Cup and got that first win with the Wood brothers, these were the things that we had in place and in mind for Ryan Blaney to do. Probably unrealistically, we expected him to do it every year. But he has matured into that driver that we thought was there all along. And this round of 8 was so impressive. I mean, he was the driver that was in all of the races that you kept seeing his name pop up. And especially the last 2, he knew what he had to do as he didn't have a ton of points built up from the regular season it was probably going to take a win in rounds as we got closer to cutoffs. And the run yesterday was just so impressive. The car had I will say it was enough speed at the beginning of a run, made for some great racing between he and Denny Hamlin in particular. But he was able to outshine everyone once they got 25, 30 laps on tires. And then the longer the run went, it's not that his car got faster. It just didn't fall off as many others experienced. And he just did a phenomenal job. That last green flag run, something we haven't seen at Martinsville in a long time to finish off a race. But it was just what was ordered up for Blaney and his team to be able to do. Kind of spoiled Eric Almirola's opportunity there, who, obviously not a part of the playoffs, but that was just so impressive. And I know that as we get into this, and we'll talk more about the championship 4 here, but you can't immediately go off and say, okay, we're going to make Blaney the favorite because of what Larson has done. He's the one that has won. But I'm telling you what, if I'm looking at it and I look at the history over in this particular car over the last 2 years, Blaney's going to, if he's not somewhere tied with Larson as the favorite to win this on Sunday, then he's really, really close.
Well, Blaney finished 2nd in that championship race last year to his teammate Joey Logano, who won the championship 2022 at Phoenix and the race. And it seems as if this is one of his best tracks, Phoenix Raceway, DJ, for Ryan Blaney. And I was struck by crew chief Jonathan Hassler told Marty Snyder in the post-race show that there's no other driver he would rather go to Phoenix with right now than Ryan Blaney. And of course he's biased, but he also sounded authentic. He sounded genuine. He sounded like he really believed that Blaney should be looked at as a guy to really watch at Phoenix. He's never won there, but he's got 6 top 5s there. So I think you're right. I think you can't put him in that conversation, and especially after this run at Martinsville. Going back to Sunday, let's talk briefly again about his drive, because as you said, he had this unusual 168 lap green flag run to end the race. Don't often see that at Martinsville. That was after everybody made their final pit stops. So for a lot of that run, Ryan Blaney was in traffic and picking his way through as he made his way to the front and eventually passed Eric Almirola with 23 laps remaining. So what did you see there about how Ryan Blaney managed that race?
As I was watching it, I thought that, this was going to be a tall order for him to make up the time, because he was at one point, I think, like 6.5 seconds behind Eric Almirola. And it looked like it kind of was stabilized there until Almirola got in some really heavy traffic. I think it was Reddick and maybe Harrison Burton, who were still on the lead lap at the time, racing really hard to try to stay on that. But Almirola had more laps on his tires, and I know was having to save some fuel during certain parts of the run. But as it got to that point, you started seeing not just a tenth of a second a lap, but bigger gains that Ryan Blaney was making. And then I heard him after the race as I went off somewhere. I was listening to Sirius XM, and I heard an interview that he did there talking about his car that he saw Saturday in practice, that it seemed like he had really good long run speed. And so they wanted to have enough short run speed to do what they wanted to do. But he said actually starting back where he did after they had pitted, he realized that he just needed to be patient. And if he could save some of his tires and not, make everything, burn them off, just trying to get himself back closer to the front, that he would have better tires as the leader encountered traffic later in the race. If they did have a long run, that they would be in a more difficult position with the older tires, and he could have better tires. And it's exactly what played out for him. So, this is another sign of that maturity that it takes to realize what you have versus your competition and what you're going to be able to utilize in the race if it plays out the way. Obviously, a caution would have changed everything, and he would have had to think differently. But it was just a phenomenal job of using what you have and thinking your way as to how you could get to the front. I think it helped him a lot, too, to know that they had scored all of those stage points in the first two stages, and that regardless of what happened, if he wasn't able to get back to the front, he knew that he had enough points built up that if he ran in the top 3 or 4, then he was going to get through on points. But I just like what I saw in being able to totally manage the race and not overdrive the car, which is something that you find yourself doing with maybe the best car in the field, but you're mired back in traffic wanting to get back to the front.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.